Thursdays we talk about personal development and mental health. All right, and today we're going to be a lot more on the mental health side, and obviously we will develop personally from the information we receive. And we have our special guest calling into the show. It's the one and only, I have to make sure I say the surname correct, Nathesha Ashbourne. I had to throw both of them out there, Nethesha, because I can't go wrong if I say both. Yeah.
Oh my.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today, super lady?
I'm really blessed. Yeah.
I'm loving the energy. I'm loving oh gosh, I'm feeling the energy this morning.
Hey.
That's how we roll. Let me just give an idea. What area are you calling from? You're central London, isn't it?
West London.
West London. Fantastic. Yeah. Yes. And you know, you actually came on the show quite a while ago when the breakfast show, me doing the breakfast show first started, and it was good to have you on the show. And one of your things is about mental health, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And obviously the listeners are listening in. Oh, by the way, just before I go, I just had to get this one. Teshego Ranko Finzu Park is from Botswana. It's the Botswana flag. Okay, thank you so much, Teshengo, for clearing that up for me. I really appreciate that. All right, so yeah, so you do with mental health, isn't it? Yeah. So I mean, just so our listeners can kind of connect with you, and those who they're breakfast show legends from before probably have quite memory because it's been quite a while. Tell us a bit about what you do.
Okay, so first of all, good morning, everybody. Good morning, all the listeners. I'm really happy to be here, and I thank you, Robert, for having me here as your guest.
Oh, shucks.
I thought I'd squeeze that in.
So good.
First, yeah. So a little bit about me. Quite as well. There's a nice range about who I am. First of all, I'm a servant of God. I really am a servant of God. I, as I said before, I'm from West London, originally from Bristol.
Okay.
So you might hear a little bit of a twang and accent coming out now and again. Okay. I'm also a mother as well.
Oh.
Yes, to a lovely young man. I'm really proud of him. I'm also a worshipper in my local church and an intercessor as well. And as more or less my 9 to 5-ish type of thing, I'm a participation coordinator, which is for looked after children. That's children in care and care leavers. And my main sort of focus around that is to bridge the gap between young people and children's services and promoting the voice of the child.
That's very
and supporting
important.
Young people to share, to really share their view. Encouraging them, training young people to take an active role in changing policies and documents and legislations in locally and nationally as well.
Oh, I need to get you in touch with my daughter. They had to do a protest at the school yesterday. In Pimlico School, they had to do a protest, so I think you two can connect.
Sure, I'd love to work it out, definitely.
So clearly you do a lot, but in terms of the field of mental health, what kind of things do you get up to, just to refresh our memories?
So I'm a mental health first aider, so as well under all of that. So it's nice that I can kind of use that in whoever I'm sort of working with or communicating, whether it be church, whether it be work-wise or family and friends as well. And what that really encompasses is just it's not a psychologist, okay, first and foremost, but it is somebody who's quite just has a nice rounded understanding about mental health to be able to kind of maybe pick up on some of the telltale signs and then support individuals and signpost them onto more professional support. Okay.
So you work within the community.
Yeah. So So
that means you've seen some stuff.
I have seen a lot of stuff. I also advocate as a mental health advocate as well. So, that will be on various other sort of stations and things, just kind of getting more awareness of what mental health is, because there's a lot of stigma around it, and we tend to shy away from it, the conversation as well, especially as culturally as sort of the Black culture as well, the community as well. We tend not to shy away from it.
It's true.
But it's generally on a wider scale. It's just not something that people are quite comfortable to talk about, and it's very real.
Wow.
And it needs more conversation.
I mean, over the past, I would say 3 years, it's been pushed a lot. Though people have been, there has been efforts made to make people be aware. You have a mental health. Yes, speak. Right. There has been quite a bit of that more recently,
Definitely.
Isn't it?
Definitely.
And however, during the pandemic, obviously there's been a huge shift in attention.
Yeah.
A lot of things have been dropped, and you know what I mean. And in some cases, some people are still spinning plates, but there's been a lot of focus on coronavirus. There's been a lot of focus on the pandemic. There's a lot of focus on vaccines. But there has been little talk about the mental state of the people who are in the lockdown, who were working and now they're confined to a home. They are receiving news consistently that is literally putting dread and fear into them, and they are in isolation.
Yes.
And if we don't have the right connections, it can be there could be a lot more going on. There's a lot more going on than just COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah. The lockdown hit everyone, and one of the things that the Breakfast Show has been about is when we invite our guests in who share things with us, we're curious to know, how did you manage the lockdown? Yeah. So, for example, obviously before the lockdown, you was obviously doing your stuff, doing your thing. You had your goals, you had your plans, like everybody else. Life was going on as normal, and then we heard we're going to have to go into lockdown. Right, something along those lines, right? And I mean, how did the lockdown affect you?
So initially, to be honest, I worked from home before lockdown. At least one day a week. So it was kind of like, woo, answered prayer. Like, okay, lockdown, 5 days a week working from home. To be honest, I was just like happy days.
Yes.
But having said that, just before the actual announcement, I was took sick with, not even knowing that it was COVID, but I was coming down with that, and so it was a bit kind of weird, strange time initially. Yeah. But thanks to God, you know what I mean. And he carried me through such a, which was really quite a scary time, with that. But so kind of moving on from that and just getting you into the routine of lockdown and everything. It was just. I like being at home, so it was kind of nice to have that being at home and then working from home. But it was adjusting to that, which was a bit weird. For me, it was just all
afterwards. It just wasn't fun anymore. When something's new, it's like,
I think for me, it really just put me in a bit of like, I was doing things like working from my bed, and that's how comfortable you get when you're working from home. Do you know what I mean? You stop making efforts to sort of get ready to go to work. You're just like, let me just grab my laptop and just do it from here, from the comfort of where you are, and you do that, and you just. And doing that day in, day out, I personally really lost routine.
Yes.
And it was just like, I was all over the place in terms of, when I was doing stuff, when I wasn't doing stuff, things were just blended in so much in terms of work life, home life. And I just had to kind of change halfway through. I had to really look at how I was doing things. It was like, okay.
Before you continue, we've got some Breakfast Show talkers in here. To Shego, we have Mijuli. She responded to Fatma saying, "You'll be waiting for a very long time," concerning the Breakfast Show faithful badge. Mijuli says, Mijuli says, "Welcome to the show, Nethesha."
Thank you.
Jinja says, T says, "Good morning, Nethesha. You have a lovely voice." Okay. All right. Then we have Estella saying, "Nice to meet you, Nethesha." Fatima says, "It's like everything else stopped since the pandemic started." Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. That's what we're saying. Ginger says, I am seeing a lot of men, especially young men, are taking lockdown very hard and not coping very well. Estella says, this true. The lockdown and the bad news will be mental health. It happens to my grandma.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's all the stuff that's happening out there, and you're saying that you had to kind of assimilate yourself, because after a while it's like something's not quite right here. Yeah.
Also, with that being said, it was like, obviously everything was coming through the news as well, like flooded, and through texts and things like that, and it just felt really bombarded, to be honest, you know. And I've struggled. Like, I had a moment where I personally struggled, and I needed to put some breaks in to manage my own mental health, because everybody's got mental health. So when I say mental health, you know, everybody, all of us has got mental health. What happens is there's a scale, and sometimes that's going tipped, and then that becomes ill mental health or poor mental health. So, you know, I recognize that my mental health was being infringed on and impacted in such a way that I needed to put something in place.
You see, I'm glad how you was able to identify that. You know, however, there are those among us who maybe did not identify that. You know what I mean? They didn't. They probably wasn't aware that their mental health existed. They just they took it as, there was no wording for it. They just saw it as a feeling. You know what I mean? That disorientation maybe. But that was their mental health being infringed upon. So that sounds. This sounds really, really interesting. So we want to know what you did. All right, and we're gonna find out about it. All right, and it's interesting because this shows that no one is immune to being challenged in their mental health.
That's right.
Nobody, you know.
Nobody.
Right now, I'm on the show, happy, doodly dandy, but if I don't do certain things to maintain myself, one day I'll come on the breakfast show and I'll be like, hey.
Truly.
And everybody be like, and you go be like, what's happened to this brother? What? You know what I mean? And so, you know, so we're gonna see from you the kind of things that you did during the lockdown, your mindset towards the lockdown, and you're gonna be giving us some tips coming up as well. All right. Obviously, Hugo did put on the screen that the widespread impact of mental health on mental health. It's actually on my screen now. So it says basically the share of adults who experience stress, anxiety, or sadness that was difficult to cope with alone during the pandemic. So in the United States had the biggest share, which was 33% of adults. You know, they were struggling with anxiety, sadness. They had problems. Next was Canada, which had 26, equally with the United Kingdom, which had 26% of the adult population. So that's a huge number, and those are the ones. And imagine that's a poll with a certain number of people. It's not everybody. You know what I mean? And it's the more affluent countries that seem to have been the worst hit in terms of adults suffering anxiety and stress and sadness during this time being alone. So we're going to be hearing more from Nethesha in just a moment. Guys, please send in your breakfast show talking. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got any questions as well, maybe you know someone or a neighbor that's going through something, and maybe there's something, you know, obviously disclaimer here, all right, this is just Nethesha sharing, you know, her findings, her personal findings, her personal tools that she's sharing with us today. And you may be able to identify a neighbor, colleague, or friend who may be in a challenge, who may be challenged, and you'll be able to give them something to help them. This would be good. That's what we're here for, to serve each other. We've really been enjoying what you've been passing to us, all right? And what we're going to do is we're just going to give people 6 tips. We're going to summarize it up, right? That they can do to help them in their mental health, right? And you're just going to elaborate a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yep. So we've got them on your, I believe we've got them 6 ways to protect your mental health during social distancing.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one was identify the positives.
Yes. Celebrate those small wins. That's how I'd like to phrase it. Okay. You know, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, just positive thing, just celebrate it. Okay. Identify those positives. 2, be social virtually. I touched on that. So try to network with as much as possible. Build your social circles, widen it. Set a schedule, so your boundaries, establish a routine. All right. Don't overload on the news. Okay, so filter what you see, what you hear.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Find things that make you feel calm. So that's, I've given lots of sort of ideas around that.
I love what you said about candles and essential oils. I just started going to like an advert mode. I could see like when the bath is running, it spills over, and it's that bath, not the bath that's connected to the wall, the one that's like in the middle of the room. And I know the one. Yeah, and you've got the candles on the side, and it's just dimmed, and the bath is overflowing with the petals.
All that lovely stuff, the petals. That's it. Yeah,
we gotta treat ourselves.
Self-care. Okay, whatever that looks like to you as an individual. Self-care.
Absolutely.
I promote it all the way. And this last point out of the 6 is to help others. So I like to call it random acts of kindness. Okay, there's something that we get out of giving to others, doing for others. It's very rewarding. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. It might be to prepare a meal. It might be, to pick up the phone and just check and see how somebody is. Like, how are you today? Yeah. Help somebody else, because what that does is it shifts the focus off yourself, and it also helps you at the same time. It's a two-way win. Okay. So that's the 6. I said we will continue. Yes, we will continue next week.
And I think one of the key things is, and I think when you've kind of echoed it throughout your whole, what you've been sharing with us today is have faith in God, isn't it?
Definitely. Definitely. If you've got that relationship, lean on it.
But yeah,
all right.
Fantastic. Yay. All right. So look, guys, that's it. The Gremlins are not going to stop us. We're going to win this thing, and definitely we'll have a look at that, and we're going to have just such an amazing time together. Ain't that right, Nethesha?
Definitely. 100%.
Nethesha, you're the best. You know that, right?
Oh, thanks. No, you don't need to do this.
Oh, yeah, I just have to. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time out and sharing us, imparting us these wonderful nuggets. Okay. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday. I want to thank you, dear listener, for being with us today. You've been absolutely fantastic. We love the interaction. Remember, this show is your show. Okay. And you are the ones that make all of this happen. Let's stay strong. Let's stay tuned in. So our next show will be next week, Tuesday. We're looking to get Ken Okorofo from the Humble Penny joining us next week, Tuesday. He's all excited. He's all for it. We're just crossing the dots and the T's, and he'll be able to send us some amazing tools in order to achieve financial joy and financial freedom. All right. And also just want to give a huge thanks to the one and only Captain H, the Brazilian Clark Kent of North London. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Captain Hugo. Excellent. And we'll all see you again tomorrow live on the show. We'll all see you live on the show next week, Tuesday, but don't miss the repeat tomorrow and on Monday. Until then, guys, God bless you. Stay powerful. Stay robust. Ciao for now. Wherever you are on the globe, start your morning right. Monday to Friday, from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. UK time. Join Robert Ashitey and Hercules, your man of sound. Connect online Monday to Friday with special guests for inspiration, motivation to start your morning right. Music, banter, fun and laughter. Connect when you start your mornings with The Breakfast Show. Only on libertyradio.co.uk. That's right, The Breakfast Show is back. libertyradio.co.uk from 6:30 a.m.